Hey Chael, Glenn Bell. Happy New Year. I'm here to ask you to help me design the best fighter possible based on what we know so far. Obviously, it's been 30 calendar years since the UFC. I used to go to the Kung Fu Theater. There I saw the praying mantis style, the tiger style, the drunken style, the monkey style. Now I know that was just a movie, but it had me wondering, what is the best style? Fast forward to 1993, we have the UFC, all these styles together, we're going to get our answer. I was super excited, and the answer was Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Fast forward some more, now we have Pereira and Izzy keeping it on the feet with the kicks and the punches. We had Khabib taking people down and smashing them, and we have Mighty Mouse just being a video game character doing all sorts of things. Once again, I don't know what the best style is. I was hoping maybe you could give me 2 or 3 martial arts, maybe jiu-jitsu or wrestling and Muay Thai, maybe 4 or 5 different attacks, perhaps a knee bar or a Muay Thai clinch or rear naked choke or calf kick. I also heard you mention that the current rules of MMA, they don't really fit certain styles. They're not suitable for certain styles, and you're looking for this best style when push comes to shove. So if we're walking down the street, by example, and we get attacked by 2 guys, one thing that push come to shove does not entail is us going through a portal and magically falling naked into an octagon with gloves on and a referee telling us to stand up every 5 minutes. Even UFC 1 rules. No biting, no eye gouging, no growing shots. Now someone might say, well, those 3 things won't really matter. Tell that to Iron Mike Tyson. He talked about when he was robbing people and beating them up, how he would bite and everything, and it sounds like that was effective for good old Iron Mike. So Chael, when you do say you're looking for the best style when push comes to shove, what is the actual question? Is the question the best fighting style for UFC 1 rules? Is the question the best fighting style for UFC 282 rules? Is the question the best fighting style for the Kung Fu Theater or Vale Tudo or Krav Maga or No Holds Bars rules? Basically, when I set up my camera, I came to ask you for answers that I do not know. What I've discovered along the way is I don't know the question.
Glenn Bell, Happy New Year. Great to see you, buddy, and I love your t-shirt as always. All right, let's get down to this because I wonder the same thing. And if you ask me this at the next New Year, I reserve the right to have a different opinion, but we're always learning, right? Some people declare that our sport of MMA is at its infancy. I think those people are fools. I think they sound stupid when they say it. But they have their own experiences and they believe that. So, to set that aside before I digress, I feel as though we have a good body of work and a lot of information as to what styles matter. Now, this might surprise you, and I've never spoke these words before, but karate has some seat at the table. It's got some kind of seat at the table. And Vinny Magliesh was telling me this, and Henry Cejudo has told me this, and Vitor Belfort has declared this. And Stephen Thompson went out and proved it. Lyoto Machida went out and proved it. It's got some seat at the table. I don't know how much time you want to spend on that, because it's very difficult in karate to get an actual workout. They're punching the air, and maybe if your brother did it, then you guys could set up some rules and put on the headgear and actually spar. But there is something to understanding that range. There is something to understanding some of those movements. There is room for Taekwondo for that same reason, where it will allow you to work on your athleticism. Now, Glenn, I can't just answer your question as to what the perfect system and techniques are to build an MMA fighter. I would need to see the athlete first. Because there will always be room for the gritty guy that can get in your face, put a pace on you, take you down, and bludgeon you. That will never go away. From the time they set this octagon up in 1993 until now, every single concept has changed. And I mean all of them. The rules have changed, the rounds have changed, the weight classes have changed. The techniques and the arts and the ideas and wanting to be on the bottom as opposed to wanting to be on top. Everything has changed except that. The only thing that holds true from day number 1 in Mobile, Alabama until right now is if you get on top and you bludgeon, you win. So there'll always be room for that. Khabib goes down as many people's greatest of all time. He did the same thing every time. Compared to boxing, think of Mike Tyson. Did the same thing every time, right? Threw that uppercut, come to the body, throw that uppercut, come to the hook, everybody goes home. And then you watch Floyd Mayweather. It's a thing of beauty to watch Floyd. Quick punches, movement, head roll, shoulder blocks. It's a very different style. And if you have that athleticism, and if you have that speed, and if you can get that endurance up, and if you can be disciplined enough, boy, Floyd's style sure is something special compared to Mike Tyson's, which had a lot of raw power that he was born with. There's nothing that you could do. But I do bring that to you because if you're assessing somebody and then attempting to advise them, right, Glenn? If you're somebody's father, if you're somebody's uncle, and you're really handing this and they're trusting you, you need to really look at what kind of athlete it is first. And every gym and every trainer in the world will default to the easiest, lowest denominator, which is go out there, get that guy tired, and make him quit. Every gym, every athlete, everybody, very few can do it. Everybody is in tip-top shape. So then it comes down to partly DNA, right? What's your VO2 max? You could probably figure out who's going to be able to do that just from a scientific research standpoint, or it comes down to pharmaceuticals and EPO and other things like that. But in all fairness, that plan that I'm just going to go harder, that was a good plan for the first guy that had it, which happened to be named Dan Gable in the 1972 Olympics. But once Dan Gable showed the world the power of weaponizing offense and pace, other guys caught on. They upped their cardio. I think that when you have a long guy like Adesanya, teaching him how to use that reach is very valuable. Kicks, and this will always bother martial arts. Oh, kickboxing, it's so good. Stop. Please stop with that. I kickboxed for 20 years. I have the right to tell you that simply mathematically and statistically, you can go run tape of top UFC fights and count how many punches were effective versus kicks. Of course, there's a place for kicks, for sure. And kick defense, for sure. But even in the sport of kickboxing, they had to enforce and implement a new rule to force guys to kick. So you got to work those hands. That's what I would share with you. You got to work those defenses. That I would share with you. You got to get good at jiu-jitsu. You don't have to get great at it. And that's one of the things that many people will deny. Just because there's a business. The underbelly of the business of this sport largely comes from jiu-jitsu gyms. You're going to have a hard time keeping the doors open with fighters. But I will share with you, if you were pretty good at it, Israel Adesanya would be a fine example. Purple belt. If you were pretty good at it, if you can understand where those hips go, if you can understand how to block, if you can understand how to posture up, don't be in between, be all the way down, be all the way out. There's some tricks to MMA, but Glenn, there's not a perfect training system. And the things that I have seen that are as close to perfect as we've seen so far are mixed martial arts. And it wasn't that way when I started. When I started in the 90s, boy, you're trying to find a boxing gym over here. You're hoping to get some wrestling workouts. A lot of the submissions, believe it or not, came from magazines, came from a DVD that you would get, came from moving the coffee table out, getting a friend. True. The whole world was doing a variation of this. And now you're seeing guys that at 12 and 13-year-olds came into an MMA gym. They didn't go box over here, they didn't go wrestle over here, they didn't do submissions over here, then try to figure it out on Saturday night. They learned to feint a punch, go into a shot. When the guy defends, come with your uppercut, come with your hook, go back into a shot. They learned to chain some sequences together. So my overall answer to you is a quite simple one. Mixed martial arts gym. Now, not every town has those. Every town you can find somewhere punch and kick. And every town you can find jiu-jitsu. Wrestling, you're going to have to seek out a little bit more. But the guys are really excelling. The regions and pockets of the world, the gyms that are doing the best are the ones that all encompass the sport of MMA from day one.